A forgotten artifact lies in pieces on a planet far from Earth. Few know it exists except those who took it back and those whose ancestors created it. 4 young people are thrown into a race against emissaries of the gods to find its pieces. Mistrust, greed, and magic are tangled in an endless web. What will the fate be of the universe once it is found and reassembled? Get Scepter of the Gods, The Rod of Truth now on Amazon, and get wrapped up in the saga that will not let you go.
Good morning and welcome to the Motivational Devotional, where we are merging motivation and spirituality to create a daily dose of confident positivity. I hope that this morning's podcast will help you to be more spiritually and positively motivated so that you can transform your day. Good morning, I am Mark the Writer, and I want to thank you for joining me today as we continue our series, 50 Ways to Love Your Soul. I hope you've been able to follow along with this series and are finding it helpful in getting your new year going in the direction of your lifelong goals, and that you have not yet given up on your New Year's resolutions. If you know anyone who could use some encouragement in setting goals, then please share this podcast or the blog version from motivational-devotional.com. This is the 245th episode of the Motivational Devotional. And these little 5 to 10 minute pieces average about 1,000 words each, roughly, and so that means that I've written almost 250,000 words for the Motivational Devotional since last May. That's a lot of words. In fact, it will make a significant book, won't it? It will, and I am, in fact, in the process of putting them together in a book. My hope is that it will help people and help them a lot. These ideas that I share with the world have helped me immensely. I'm also writing book 2 of my 5-book fiction series, and from my perspective, when I love a book, I love the one I am writing so that it is a labor of love, and then when finished, it is a book that other people will love. I guess it works, because I haven't heard anyone yet tell me that they're meh, kinda so-so, whatever. They tell me they love them, and I appreciate that very deeply. I love to read, and I hope that you do as well. Some books have changed my life, and I deeply love them. They're motivational and productivity, philosophy, and spiritual books. I did the series at the end of 2023 on Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People because of how greatly it impacted my own life and how I saw it mesh with personal spiritual development. M. Scott Peck's The Road Less Traveled, another of his titled In Heaven as on Earth. Carlos Castaneda's books about the curanderos of Mexico. Timothy Leary's autobiography, several books by Ram Dass, a.k.a. Richard Alpert, who was a co-professor in the Harvard School of Psychology with Leary, and multiple books about spiritual development, theology, and all things in between. But then there are the works of fiction that cover so many flights of fancy, from Kurt Vonnegut's Breakfast of Champions, a ton of paranormal fiction, including April Baker, who writes brilliant stories, all of the stories that Roger Zelazny wrote in his lifetime, the Riverworld series by Philip Jose Farmer, and of course, Telling the World What a Geek I Am, all the Harry Potter stories, all the Rick Riordan Olympian and Egyptian stories, and what started all of it, all the J.R.R. Tolkien stories that I read before any of them were very popular. To be honest, that's all my mom's fault. She would gratefully take the blame for it, too, being a person who loved books even more than I do. She taught me the value of ideas and dreams and sharing those in the written word. So even if you say you aren't much of a reader and you might say you don't have time to read, I would say that there is probably something that engages your imagination and your interest. I would also say that if you don't have time because you're driving and commuting to and from work, or you drive a lot for your work, then audiobooks are a great way to go. I would also highly recommend finding a book that engages your spiritual journey where you are now. Maybe a book on yoga, like not only how to do it, but on the different types of yoga. Maybe a book on Reiki, which is energy healing work. Maybe a book on the spiritual founders of whatever tradition you follow. I am currently reading Fairy Tale by Stephen King on audiobook, as well as His Suite by Hildur Sif Thorarensen on Kindle. After those, I've already downloaded Snuff by Terry Pratchett, Peace is Every Step by Thich Nhat Hanh, and The Olympian Affair and The Aeronaut's Windlass, both by Jim Butcher. Here's an idea for finding a book to love. Go to wherever you get your reading material, and I won't suggest, although my own books are on Amazon, hint, hint, and search for something you would really enjoy reading about. There are millions of books currently available between ebooks, audiobooks, and whatever is in your local library. Libraries, remember those? They are still around, too, and we can actually go in and check things out still. I often forget that we can. So the choices are almost infinite, so you'll find something. You may very well find a book that will completely change your life for the better. If you want something similar to what I do here on the Motivational Devotional, check out Anxious Disciple by yours truly, Mark Mills, on Amazon. There are opportunities for reflection and journaling throughout the book, and it covers the threefold way that runs through all of these segments in the Motivational Devotional. I hope you will find a book to love, because the time you spend in it will be time you love yourself. It's a great way to love your own mind while journeying through someone else's. It's also a great way to love your imagination. The possibilities are endless. This is where we find that all of creation is conspiring in our favor. Trust that the universe always has your back and will inspire you in the least expected way. Walt Disney once said, "There is more treasure in books than in all the pirates' loot on Treasure Island." Thank you for taking the time to listen today. Please help keep this podcast going by following the Motivational Devotional Facebook page, following @Threefold-Way Radio on Twitter, and sharing the written format of today's message from motivational-devotional.com on your social media. I am deeply grateful for your support, and thank you for letting Motivational Devotional be part of your journey. Peace out. See you tomorrow. Motivational Devotional is a production of Threefold Way Radio, LLC.